Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. Welcome to this episode of Am I the Asshole? Our first one is from Gig Ticket 10294. Am I the asshole for calling my sister a coke whore? I'm 18 female. I live with my parents and my sister Joanne, 23 female. Joanne has a cocaine habit and she claims it's normal in her job and it's just the lifestyle of chefing, yada yada. My parents seem to be ignoring it since Joan pays her rent on time and keeps to herself when she's in the house and doesn't cause many problems. I'm a college student on a government grant, and I'm in college Monday to Friday up until 5 or 6 p.m. Working really isn't an option for me right now, so I don't go out much and I spend all my money on college supplies. Joanne doesn't seem to understand this and is always asking to borrow money and whatnot. I always say no because it works out that I only have 40 euros every week to spend on college stuff and travel to college. I got a Christmas bonus on my grant and I ended up deciding to book tickets for a smallish local gig that's next week. I booked two, one for me and one for my best friend because her birthday is the same day and she loves the type of music. It was meant to be a surprise for her. I had told Joanne about this on one of her good days because I was genuinely excited to finally do something and live the college student lifestyle for a night. The tickets were digital, on an account shared with my parents. Joanne had asked for the login, telling them that she wanted to book tickets for something, but she was lying and used it to sell my tickets for drug money. I didn't find out until I had gotten the email to confirm that the tickets were sent to someone else, and I was really confused at first. I checked and they were sent to someone I know Joanne knows. I went straight to her when she got home and asked what the fuck she did, and she tried lying, but I showed her proof it went to someone she knows and told her I want my money back, then and there. She told me it was gone already. I lost my mind and started yelling at her, because it wasn't fair. My mom was just in from work and I was screaming at my sister who was crying at that point, saying she was sorry and she didn't know it would upset me this much. My mom got involved and told me to keep my voice down and we'll talk about it, and I told her to shut up and stay out of it. I ended up saying something along the lines of, "Why is it fair that you get to do this to me when I've never even drank alcohol or smoked weed? Why does the coke whore get to be the golden child but not me?" My mom stepped in and put a stop to it then and there. My sister had started screaming back at me for what I had called her. My mom said that was out of line and she just made a mistake. I told my mom her mistake cost me the only night out I'll have been able to have had all year, so she should hear what I have to say about it. My mom thinks I was in the wrong for what I said, and my sister won't even look at me even though it's been 3 days and I've tried apologizing. Am I the asshole? Based on this entire story, no, I don't think you're the asshole at all. I really do believe your sister is an asshole, and to be fair, you called her exactly how she was acting. She stole from family to feed her addiction. This next one is by Miracle Baby Niece. Am I the asshole for not letting my miracle baby niece be my flower girl at my wedding? My 27 female, older brother and sister-in-law, both mid-30s, just welcomed their first child a year and a half ago, after years of trying. After many failed attempts, sister-in-law was told that she wouldn't be able to conceive due to a medical condition she has. They finally got pregnant. Since having my niece, the baby has been the center of attention at every family event we've had since she was born. Birthdays, weddings, family get-togethers, you name it. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my niece, but it can get to be a little too much when my sister-in-law goes on and on about how long they tried to conceive, complications they've had, miscarriages they've had, etc. Like, a little too much info. Many family members have commented on how it's a little bit excessive, but no one has said anything because they don't want to sound like an asshole. Anyway, I'm getting married in the spring, and my brother and sister-in-law approached me last weekend about having my niece be the flower girl. Now, my fiancé, 35 male, has 2 children, 10 male and 6 female from his previous marriage. His son is one of the groomsmen, while his daughter had asked to be our flower girl when we told them the news that we were getting married a year ago, as it's something she always wanted to do, so of course we said yes. So I explained this to my sister-in-law when she asked me about my niece. She asked if my stepdaughter can just carry my niece with her. I said I don't think she'd be comfortable with that considering she's 6. She then asked why I can't give that role to my niece and allow herself to carry my niece down as the flower girl. I said no because I had already promised my stepdaughter. She then started going off about how my lack of effort to incorporate my niece is disgusting her. I should honor her in some ways since I know how long and hard they tried for my niece. Now, I may sound like an asshole for this, but I kinda got fed up and snapped and said, "Incorporate my niece how? By the time the wedding comes around, she'll be 2 years old. The entire family already knows your story about how long and hard you guys tried for her. What more do you expect me to do to honor her?" She started crying and said that I clearly don't love my one and only niece and I'm letting her down. I said of course I love my niece and obviously she's going to be involved in pictures and stuff, but I'm not going to let my stepdaughter down by giving my niece a role she's too young to remember anyway. Well, now sister-in-law and brother are pissed off with me for not letting my niece be flower girl and are running around telling the rest of the family I don't love my niece. My mom has been trying to stay neutral but thinks my stepdaughter would understand if I explained to her I need to give that role to my niece. I'm firm in my decision though, and my fiance is thankful that I didn't let his daughter down. Am I the asshole for not allowing my niece to be the flower girl? First and foremost, it's yours and your fiance's wedding, not your brother's, not your sister-in-law's, and most of all not your niece's. And regardless of how long and how hard they tried, yes, it's fantastic that they were able to conceive and have a child, but they don't need to rub that in everybody's face and act so goddamn entitled over it. You're definitely not the asshole. And our final one is from Please Not Here AITA. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my husband move his father into our home? My husband's 40 male mom passed away late last year. It was very hard on him and his father. The holidays were rough. My husband is still struggling and I've been doing my best to be kind, supportive, and understanding. But he's been less attentive with our 3 kids, 14 female, 12 male, and 9 male. And I'm pretty sure he's struggling at work too, but he won't admit it. He started therapy about a month ago and is going once a week. A couple weeks ago, he brought up to me that he wants to move his dad, 75 male, into our house. He said that his dad is struggling too, and that being in the house he shared with his wife the past 50 years isn't doing him any good. He had an entire plan laid out, so it was obvious to me that he's been planning this for a while without talking to me about it. He wants to move his dad into the room that we just moved our middle child into last summer. Before that, our 2 youngest were sharing a room, so we did renovations to make an extra bedroom so all our kids could have their own space. He wants to force our 2 youngest to share a room again so his dad can move in. He also wants to talk to his dad about putting their house on the market or possibly renting it out, which means father-in-law would be here long term. After he laid out his plan, he asked me what I thought, and I told him my immediate reaction is no. I told him that barely any time had passed since his mom's death, and it's too soon to make such drastic changes in everyone's lives. I told him his dad will get better with time, and we all need to just take a step back and not rush into any decisions. He was not happy with my response and kept asking for specific reasons other than not enough time had passed. I suggested that we look into different housing options for his dad if he's uncomfortable in his home, which I get. His dad has enough money saved to afford a good retirement home or a smaller condo, which would allow everyone to still have their own space. He didn't like that idea either because it would mean his dad is still living alone. I'll admit, there are reasons I didn't tell him. Seeing my husband deal with his grief has been hard, especially since it's affecting his ability to be present with me and the kids. I really don't want a second grieving man in our house. I also really don't want to kick our middle child out of the room that we just made specifically for them. That isn't fair to them. But I know if I tell my husband this, he's going to think I'm being selfish, and maybe I am. Father-in-law currently lives about 3 hours away, so visiting him is difficult. We also live in a pretty rural area, and the nearest town with respectable retirement homes is over an hour away. So even that option isn't ideally close, but it's still closer. I know this sounds selfish, but I just don't think I can handle 2 grieving men in my home. I can barely handle one right now. I don't think you're the asshole at all. As you stated, your father-in-law clearly has options, and he can afford to get like a smaller condo or something like that. If living in that house really is too much, he might want to look into selling it and then relocating closer to you guys. Taking away the room that you renovated for your child, I don't really think that's a good option because it's going to send a mixed message to the child that they're allowed to have their own space only to have it taken away. But that's where I stand on it. Alright, that's enough stories for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Am I the Asshole? If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.